difficult to row is that the boat capsized when his blade got stuck in the water, unfortunately. So that's what we have in front of us here, about 15 strokes from the finish line, Colleen. And it's not a common occurrence, but it is more common in a pair than probably any other boat class. As we look back at the picture and we let you know what's on the race course, and that is the first semifinal of the women's under 17 pair. And in lane 2, it's Parati. In lane 3, it's St. Andrew. Lane 4 is White Rock. Lane 5 is Triangle. And in lane 6, closest to the beach, is Sarasota Crew. And you saw them come through the 500-meter marker there on the camera. And we'll maybe get the times posted, but it does look like sort of a match race up front between St. Andrew and White Rock early. White Rock did have the fastest time in the time trial by 11 seconds, Colleen. So they had a very fast time trial. And, excuse me, it was the race for second place that I saw coming through because it's White Rock way out in front.
Yeah, a nice time from the time trial indeed, and you can see just a lot of pressure, a lot of swing coming out of that shell as they move through. They've got the advantage, and then looking back just to the right and then to the left from our view, it's Triangle and St. Andrews. But a look then at that margin, you can see just open water back to the rest of the field. So a theme that we've seen is our leaders get out ahead. Oftentimes they look to stay ahead and truly just build that lead throughout the race. That's what White Rock is doing, and then it's back over to St. Andrews and Triangle. These athletes starting to separate a little bit as they move through the second quarter.
So it's the women from Texas. I said that a couple weeks ago when we watched the NCAA championships that are out in front here, and they're commandingly out in front. It's the women from White Rock. It's Geiger and Cooper out in front. And the race is going on here for second and third place. You can see it. Beautiful picture. Two connected boats. It's St. Andrew in lane 3 at the top of your picture. And closer to us in lane 5 is the boat from Triangle Rowing in the Research Triangle of North Carolina. And they're stroke for stroke, as you see. They're connected. And, if they can stay in these positions, they both would move through. The other two boats that are in this semifinal also look to be connected in those lanes furthest from each other, and that's Parati and Sarasota. Sarasota on the far left, Parati on the far right. So it's an absolute chevron shape here, or a triangle, to use the name of the boat in lane 5 that we're looking at on our screen, with White Rock way out in front as they come through 1,000 meters. And you can see that just slightly ahead of Triangle is St. Andrew for second and third. And then coming through the 1,000, that's Parati in the dark boat at the top of the race course and Sarasota in the light boat at the very bottom. And man, are they close.
And a nice shot here of White Rock as we've been chatting about today. Just a good day for Texas. We've seen a lot of talent here, and of course, a good day for Texas last weekend at the NCAA's. Head coach Dave O'Neill will be happy to see all of this great high school rowing happening in Texas as well. But for now, a look at our screen then. That's lanes 3 and 5. So St. Anthony's and Triangle still duking it out.
Yeah, and it's stroke for stroke between the two. So it's a beautiful sort of match race going on, and they can't really be worried about White Rock because there's no way that any of these athletes can even see White Rock given the distance that they've put on the rest of the field, as you see from the drone shot. So again, it's one of these situations where they know sort of that maybe one boat's ahead of them, but then they're racing this other boat. It's lanes 3 and 5 that are stroke for stroke, and they're trying to test their speeds. They know that if they move forward, they'll see each other again. And so it becomes kind of a mental game here to some extent, Colleen, as well, because you don't necessarily want to show every card that you have either if you're in this driver's seat position to move forward. And you may not care what the lane is. Maybe you care, and maybe that's going to determine whether you're going to take the stroke rating up early or you're going to make a move to try to grab that second place position. But either way, it's stroke for stroke. It's St. Andrew and the boat right in front of us here from Triangle.
Yeah, that's right. There's strategy that comes into play here. And of course, one of the interesting dynamics of the boats without coxswain, like the pair, is that these athletes will have to communicate to each other, right? And they're working so hard. So if they are going to communicate like a race move or anything, right? It's kind of one word, but that's the level of communication that they've developed in training for this boat. Oftentimes they are able, right, to just say one word and know that it's time to go or it's time maybe to hold back. So I'm sure some sub kind of plot is the narratives that are going on between these athletes with their teammates. White Rock, I think their narrative is really just to get to the finish line, to hold on to this power. Good swing coming out of that shell, and they'll be first to cross into the red buoy zone in just a moment.
Not going to get a better picture of that, of your leaders, White Rock, coming down the race course into the last 400 meters out in front of this field from the jump. And they're showing why they won the time trial by 11 seconds. And it's just a dominating performance by White Rock out in front. It does look to me, and we'll see for sure as they come, it does look like Triangle maybe with a slight edge right now on St. Andrew. But by the same token, I'm looking at both boats. Stroke ratings aren't super high, so that could change as they come down depending on whether they want to put on a big push. But that's a gorgeous picture of White Rock really enjoying this flat water, rowing that pair to perfection, and that perfection is going to lead them to a commanding victory in semifinal A of our women's under 17 pair at the 2021 U.S. Rowing Youth National Regatta.
So again, it is 3 to advance then to final A. White Rock well on their way, and then Triangle out of lane 5. And on the far side, St. Andrews as well, looking like those will be our 3. So White Rock then coming into their final few strokes, lane 5, closest to shore. It is Triangle to come through. So they've broken away from St. Andrews, racing neck and neck most of the way down. And then some kind of a push, it appears, from Triangle has really put them in a position to finish second, with St. Andrews then in their final 10 strokes.
And then finishing behind St. Andrew, it looks like it's going to be Parati, also another boat from Texas that I think that will finish ahead of Sarasota as they finish up in front of us. That was semifinal A of the women's under 17 pair. And the next race that we will see on our race course will be semifinal B of the women's under 17 pair. And as they finish up, Sarasota finishes up right in front of us in lane 6 in 5th place. We'll shoot back up to the start, and I'll set the field for you.